like how to do it home. And my little,
Is that you play?
I'll be sitting in my chair and then it's all coming. Yeah, it's weird.
So thanks for joining us. That was a nice little pose. We were just talking about how we like to play guitar. It's like Wild Stallions.
Wild horses.
Is it Wild Stallions is the Bill and Ted's band, right? Yeah, so I want to make sure.
Just maybe think of their own
Great
songs.
movie. If you haven't seen the first one.
A modern classic.
I've not seen the third. I don't remember the second. So just see the first. It's kind of like The Matrix. That's all you need to do.
That's true.
And Keanu Reeves in general, besides John Wick, just watch the first of his series.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair thing. Except for A Walk in the Clouds. You can watch all of those. Continuing on. Here's what we're going to talk about today. The 3 most important skills you need to have as a guitar player. It's tricky, right? There's thousands of skills.
Like good hygiene.
That doesn't matter as much. I mean, if you're in a band, maybe.
In a van.
No,
Or
we talked about this for a while with the whole team. We were having like a staff meeting about this and like sort of tossing ideas around. And we came up with sort of 3 that seem to, because there's everything. You know, it's like from speed to like, you know, your picking techniques and things. But those are all part of other
The bigger picture.
So if you like this stuff, click like, subscribe.
Don't forget the bell. The bell's very important.
I still don't know why, but don't tell me.
You just have to do it. It's mystical.
I don't understand. Okay, number 1, the pocket.
Oh, gotta have the pocket.
So what's the pocket?
It's just like it's being in time, but it's more than that. It's that feeling when everything syncs up and it's just like magic and you melt into it and
And that is one of those things that's even if you're playing with people or by yourself.
yes.
It's we were sort of thinking about, you know, playing with a metronome, which is vital at first when you're learning, I think, like playing and just to have an idea of
Something
like,
to keep
so
time for you, yeah.
You're doing that, so you develop that, especially if you're genetically cursed with whiteness. You have to develop that a little bit better. Sorry,
Internalize. It's true.
No, it's important. Like, and like develop that. So when you do eventually get to communicate with other people and play, even if it's like written out music or if it's not, which we'll get into in a minute, you can have that groove.
Yeah, the groove that's just so important. I've played with people who were in time, but the groove wasn't there, right? Like everything was there, it was perfect. You couldn't put your finger on why it didn't feel as good.
And when you're playing with a drummer, it's often a drummer that plays too fast.
Right.
And they're
too like they're on top of that beat and they don't know how to like lay back or
you go back and listen to like Charlie Watts from the Stones or something. He was always slightly behind the beat,
Right.
and that's what creates that magic of what the Stones did for 864 years. They're still doing, but Charlie was the backbone of that band to me.
There's a great video about this. It's Tim Pierce and Rick Beato, I think.
Who are they?
Just some
Smaller
startup YouTube channels.
startups. I think
right.
startup companies. Sorry.
But Tim Pierce is talking about how when he first started as a session guy in LA, it was all about learning to be at different places of that beat. But then now that everything's quantized and snapped to the grid, you had to totally relearn how to play right on. And he was like, it's such a different feel. And he was like, it was so weird.
God, it's strange to think about it.
It's really interesting. But still your pocket, right? If your pocket's great, I guess you could do both.
Number 2. You want to hit it?
Playing by ear.
That's something that is often overlooked by most new guitar players.
Yeah.
Then we're talking mainly to like when you're getting into the instrument and you're developing like, your skills and abilities. These are important things to sort of attack pretty early on, I think.
I think there's a couple things about it, right? Because everything now is at your fingertips. You can pull up tablature for anything, which does not make you use your ear, right? It shows you exactly where to put your fingers. There's good things to that, but the downside is you don't sit and listen to a recording and try to figure out what's happening. And you don't necessarily get ear training unless you're taking real formal music lessons where that's a thing, right? But the other thing about playing by ear is I think it is sort of mystical to a lot of people. Like they think you either can play by ear, like I hear talk to people.
And it's totally not.
Or you can't. And that's not true.
It's a skill you learn.
Right, absolutely.
It's like skinning a duck.
Yeah.
You just learn how to do it. Or de-hooking a fish.
Right set of tongs.
Dude. Like for the duck or the fish, I'm so confused. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Just side note, I'm getting right back to it, but if you haven't watched The Goonies in a while, it still holds up. It does. I didn't realize Steven Spielberg was in that. And you know who like the main teenage boy is? Like the cool older brother?
I'm trying to think.
Dude, I had no idea. It's freaking Thanos. It's Josh Brolin.
Oh, yeah.
I had no recollection.
That's
I was like,
But it is.
The movie totally holds up today. Great movie. Anyway, back to it.
My wife is terrified of that movie. She
My
has
wife
some
is
strange,
too.
Is she really?
Yeah, she's like, I don't know if the kids should see it. You know, we started watching. The kids are like losing their shorts. They're laughing so hard.
I don't think Chrissy can watch it right now.
It's so weird. It's like, we don't stop for the scary part. I'm like, scary part?
Which what?
Yeah. It's the Goonies. Nothing scary. They've seen the Avengers. They've seen like people get murdered. You know, like Saving Private Ryan. They watch that for bedtime movies. Just kidding. I'm not a monster. I'm not Derek. I didn't show my kid like RoboCop at age 2. Anyway,
More questionable, but yeah.
which is great. One of the best movies ever is the original RoboCop. Love it. The shotgun scene. Hand splattered.
Ouch.
Great effect. Practical effects. Perfection. Love that movie. Playing by ear, it is something like in my decades of teaching, I made all my students learn that immediately.
Yeah.
Like we would work on it from lesson 1 almost, and just like sort of copying and sort of a almost old sort of style. But it's not just that old-fashioned lessons of like, you know, Mary Had a Little Lamb. That stuff has been gone for a while, thank God. Like you got to have these kids learn how to play, not just with what's on the iPhone and the tab. You got to be able to hear it. And like, so I would develop things like you listen to it on your machine, wherever you're listening to the music on, and then you need to be able to learn how to play that song within 10 seconds, within the ability of your skills. And you're not going to be doing like, you know, Eruption. Get this. Except for lesson 2, maybe you do Eruption.
Maybe lesson 2.
Lesson two.
Maybe the back end of lesson 2. You know.
I would say.
Yeah.
I love when you say back end.
Back it on up. There you go.
That makes me happy. But within playing by ear, that encapsulates. We're sort of making this broader. Encapsulates your scale work and your chord work.
Yes.
So that you understand how to, like, you know, obviously if you want to learn Taylor Swift, like, we're never getting back together, you should be able to listen to that, hear it, and be, okay, I can understand, like, this note's a C, this one goes to a G bass, that's a G chord, then you figure out the chords slowly, and then you get the rhythm of it.
Well, you can start to hear, like, one went to the 4, oh, no, it's going to the 5, or it's going to the 6. I mean, you know, that's you can learn to do that.
Yeah. Yes. And then you learn all the patterns eventually that way. And then learning your basic pentatonic opens you up to being able to play with other people.
Yes.
Within that playing by ear, which bends you back into step 1 we talked about of the pocket.
Playing by ear.
So that all those two connect. We think those are vital.
Pretty darn vital.
Then number 3, which is the finale to sounding not like a robot or a computer and actually developing your own voice, maybe, but starts with copying other people's voices, is
Vibrato and bending, which is super important. And I tell my kids all the time, that's sort of what makes the guitar the guitar. Those are the cool things that guitars do that are unique. And I guess to some extent,
when you said kids, I thought you were talking about like your actual children.
Oh yeah, every night before bed.
Elijah,
I give
this
him
is what makes the guitar the guitar.
Listen, son.
But probably he's like, Dad, I'm asleep.
Tell me what makes the guitar the guitar.
Daddy,
say it.
I'm asleep. I gotta have his voice on the channel one day. It's like, it's the greatest thing. I hate my children. Your kid's voice is so great.
Elijah would lose his mind if we let him be on the channel one day.
Would he want to be on the channel?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh yeah, I don't think my kids they would be horrified of it.
In fact, one day we came here and he sat on the thing and I took a video of him and he explained about the BC Rich over there. It was nonsense.
Definitely, if you guys want to see like an Elijah guest appearance, like please. Your daughter's too sweet. I don't want her to ever be on.
That's true.
You don't want your daughter on camera ever.
Never.
It
Never
ends well. It's like the camera, then the pole. It's all. Not that I don't approve of that. I respect it entirely, and I'm a big fan actually, but not for his daughter. It's different. No. Everyone else. Anyway, side notes. A little inside to my track of mine, thinking sometimes I'm sorry. So starting with vibrato. It is one of those things that's so important, but it's so difficult.
It is difficult.
Everyone starts off with that spastic,
the weird thing,
unrhythmic thing that's like has no steady like unison. It's like a fly having sex.
It's erratic is the right word, right? It's like
You're like, I'm trying to do BB King. I'm like, no, you're not. BB King has a very specific fast vibrato, and like Clapton has that slow, smooth one.
Clapton's is so good.
That's when I first learned the that vibrato technique where your hand comes off the neck, and it's just. Because I was watching, it was back in the days of VHS.
Ooh.
Those are like tape machines that go in there. And make things come on the screen.
You had to get all the Hot Licks tapes. You remember those things?
God, I never had a hot lick. Those are expensive.
They were expensive.
They're like $30 or something. I never had a hot lick.
I never
tape.
owned one either.
No, if I saw Clapton like at a live show or David Gilmour, you're like, oh, that's why their sound's better. And it took me a long time to develop that ability to play that. Like, how do you do vibrato on the first string? If you don't, like if you just try to if you bend down the first string, you fly off.
That's it. Yeah.
Bending is very important, so you can bend into pitch and not be out of tune.
It's true.
And that makes the guitar sound like a human voice more, to where it's alive.
It lets you be expressive, right? That's what sort of lets you have all the expression. Although now there's a thing, boomer bends. Have you heard this?
No.
Oh.
Is this like an insult?
So if you haven't heard it, that probably means
You're a boomer? I mean,
well, just that you're not a boomer, but you're doing boomer bends.
I do all sorts of what's a boomer? Is that like all the blues pentatonic bends?
It's just the kid, what's his name, like Tim Henson or whatever.
What is it?
He's
I'm
like
slightly offended, but not really.
He's the band like Periphery or whatever they're called. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know about these things, but he was he was talking to Rick Beato and he was like, I don't really do the boomer bend. Because he does all the cool like tapping with all his hands and
right, yeah, okay.
He didn't really mean it as a derogatory thing. He was literally just explaining it's all those cliche bends that we all think of. Like I just
and I look at that sort of
the 2 to the 3 and the 5 to 6 and it's like, oh yeah.
And that playing reminds me of, what was that movie with like the kid that was the prodigy that did all the tapping?
Oh, the August Rush or something like that. Yeah.
Which I did not like that movie at all, by the way. So just if you loved it, I'm sorry.
Baxter and Despair.
I know. I was just like, deal with it. I was like, that's not my. It's part of that's not guitar playing. I mean, it's a different thing, but I like it. I respect it, but
oh, it is cool. But yeah, it's not
it's
as
like,
right.
It's a different thing. It's
what I do dig about that stuff when I first saw it with the acoustic guitar, I was like, oh man, you can never really do this like in a band or like a song. But the Tim Henson guys, they figured out a way to incorporate it, and it's pretty darn cool.
And there's some great even that cat that did really well in like America's Got Talent or something, or the X Factor, one of those things. He does all like the Beethoven symphonies and Mozart and other stuff on it. It's amazing, but it's just a different thing.
But it's super cool.
It's a different thing that I don't have the ability to do. So
we're saying that because we could never.
Can't do it. It's just out of my wheelhouse. I'm like, I was like, should I try to learn that? Nope, too old.
Well, but it would be learning, like totally relearning
the guitar,
everything. That's why I hate open tunings. Because
I'm
old.
I know it's hard.
I'm just like, oh god. I have to learn this too.
No. Thing I don't want to. So those are our 3 things, and there's a ton more. But that's kind of like what we thought would make you like the most well-rounded musician.
Well, that's what we felt. That's what we came to a consensus of. If you could, if you had to pick the things that are most important.
Because this has changed over if you had asked this question in the 80s, speed.
God, you just
picking
have to be
technique,
fast and technical, right?
Speed, picking technique, and scales. If you ask this, question in the 70s, it's a lot of open tunings and chords and like acoustic work.
And you got to have the right hair.
You have cool hair. You have to look like him.
Stash. Yours is all gone. It makes me a little sad.
I know, it's neat. Well, it grows back like in a day or two. I'll have a stash. It was so horrible.
I mean, it was horribly great.
The best is like when my wife woke up and she saw it. She's like, "Oh my God, what have you done?" I'm like, "Yes, I like to do these things just to make her sad." I don't know. This is part of the joy of being. If you're married, you know what I'm talking about. Just bringing someone else sadness is somewhat enjoyable.
I am thinking. You guys can weigh in on this in the comments. I'm thinking about an aggressive beard trim.
For you?
Hair trim for me, just for summer. I mean, because it grows back ridiculously fast, but because it's very long. It's very.
I mean, would you go short like Derek?
No, God, no. I'm not a woman. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No. We're not talking anything that crazy. Just, just a summer length beard. Sorry, Derek.
Because that made me rethink the whole definition of what is a woman when you said that. That's my brain just went down this well. I was like, oh Lord, help me. I need therapy quickly. Let us know your thoughts, your ideas, and share them with friends. And start conversations if you see it on the comments. It's neat when conversations start. You guys, because it helps us. I'm like, oh, I didn't think about it. I'm gonna go practice that now.
That's right.
It used to be reading music would have been a thing in the '60s. You have to learn how to read music, and
not so much.
Not as much anymore. It's I still think it's a nice skill to learn.
It's cool. But
But to be have an enjoyable musical experience, not career even, just experience and enjoy for your life, you don't have to learn how to read music.
And there's a ton of careers, guys making, a decent living that
But forget careers, just the enjoyment of the guitar. Just like that's
Right.
that's what this is mainly about. And
I'm just saying, sometimes I'll talk to students who they think to enjoy it or to be a real player, they have to read.
or with the price of guitars now, the most important skill is to earn a lot of money.
There you go. Done.
No, it's not.
I mean,
Fortunately,
it's helpful.
prices will come down eventually. I'm just kidding. That doesn't happen.
He means after the whole reset thing, after the economy has crashed. It's gonna be great.
After the I saw on the internet the other day too. I saw like a picture. I was like, oh my god, those refugee camps are like horrible. Because I thought it was Ukrainian stuff. Because there's overgrown plants, like the tents had holes in them. It was a still from The Last of Us being shot for HBO. I thought it was like real camps, which are also horrible, and we should do more to help that, obviously. But it was The Last of Us, which I'm very excited about.
There you go.
Do you play the game ever?
No.
You never played The Last of Us?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm totally lost.
One of the best video games in PlayStation's history.
Okay,
It's
all right.
phenomenal. So they're making an HBO show. They're spending,
Okay.
I think, $20 million or 10 to 20 per episode. Something like that.
So give me the quick premise. We're done with real things now.
It's an apocalyptic world type setting where
Okay.
something had gone wrong and the world's been overrun by these things that it's not zombies, but it infects you and it turns you into sort of plants type stuff. It just it kills you.
right.
It's horrible. And it's about a man and this young girl, and sort of the plot. But the man is the Mandalorian.
What?
He is the man. He's the actor. And who the girl is? Do you remember Game of Thrones?
No.
Do you remember that girl that was one of the house leaders, the young child that was the house leader of one of the northern houses?
Yes.
She's the main
No.
actor. Yeah.
She was awesome.
She was awesome. I was like, she needs her own show, and she's got it now.
There you
Mic
go.
dropped. Years later, doesn't matter. Maybe this will salvage the ashes of what Game of Thrones became at the end.
I doubt it.
Can't ever. Even the new Game of Thrones.
I'm still a
coming
little
out.
bitter. Yeah.
I am bitter because I would watch that whole series again if it didn't.
I just want him to finish the books.
I have no comment. But anyway, Last of Us, great video game. The only reason to own a PlayStation back in the days.
There you go.
That came along. And Monster Hunter. Not Monster Hunter. Shadow of the Colossus.
See, now I feel sad. I should have played more video games.
We can remedy that.
Like we did.
Thanks again for watching.
Like, subscribe, hit the bell.
Godspeed.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Gonna go build a pirate ship.
Yes. Nice.
That's my anti-boxing bonus.